debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name-calling.
She doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run.
Fireworks Tuesday night in the city of brotherly love as Kamala Harris and Donald Trump faced off in a historic showdown with less than 2 months until the November election. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sharon Taswell. It didn't take long for both candidates to take jabs at each other, attacking one another's record in office. Both candidates wasted no time addressing issues often brought up by voters and other leaders. Harris went after Trump's legal woes, while the former president criticized the vice president's changing of policies. Take a listen.
Fracking? She's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police? She's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly. She was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out. Wait a minute, I'm talking now. If you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar?
Well, I think this is so rich, coming from someone who has been prosecuted for national security crimes, economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault, and his next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing.
Spectrum's Evan Koslof joins us now from Washington. Evan, both candidates also took questions on key election issues, including the economy, the border, and foreign affairs. What were some of the defining moments for each candidate?
Right, the two candidates know just how crucial this moment is. We're closing in on 50 days until election night, and this may be their last chance to really sell themselves. They both had very different goals. For Trump, I think this was all about 2 things. First, labeling Harris as radical and dangerously liberal. We saw this when he called her a Marxist, for example. And then goal number 2 for Trump was tying Harris to the perceived problems from the Biden administration. I think that's why we heard Trump talk so much about inflation, which spiked under the Biden administration, and of course the surge of migrants crossing the border. On immigration, he accused Harris of wanting open borders, for example. Meanwhile, for Harris, she also had 2 goals, in my opinion. First, to introduce herself. We've seen her as the number 2 behind Biden, but what does she stand for as a candidate? Recent polling shows that roughly 3 out of 10 people say that they want to learn more about her policies, and that's why we heard her talk a lot about her economic plans, for example. She spoke about wanting to create what she calls an opportunity economy. She also spoke about a new proposal to offer tax incentives for small businesses. So that's number 1, introduce herself. And then number 2, we saw her also try to label Trump as extreme and radical, referring to Project 2025, saying at one point Donald Trump has no plan because he only cares about himself. She also attempted to take on a major vulnerability, border security, blaming Trump for pushing Republicans to vote against a bipartisan immigration bill. Sharon?
Evan, another key moment during the debate came when candidates were asked about their stance on abortion. Take a listen.
Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. If Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban.
It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban because we've gotten what everybody wanted. But for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart, and they've wanted it back in the states. And I did something that nobody thought was possible.
All right, so Evan, abortion was just one of the many topics during the debate. Do you think each candidate was able to successfully get their message on policy out to those voters who may still be undecided?
I think that's the challenge because both sides need to reach out to the moderates that might be undecided without alienating their base. Because look, this will be an extremely tight election coming down to just 6 or 7 swing states. Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania in the Midwest, Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, and North Carolina in the South. And abortion, for example, could be one of those key issues that gets people off the couch. Democrats think it's a winning issue for them. And Harris, of course, blamed Trump for the appointment of those Supreme Court justices that ended Roe v. Wade, calling state abortion bans immoral, and Trump abortion bans, and she really spoke in emotional terms in a way that President Joe Biden was less able to do. Meanwhile, Trump, really interestingly, tried to toe the line on this issue in a lot of ways. He said he was proud of ending Roe v. Wade, saying that this should be a state issue, at one point saying it's the vote of the people now. But he also said he was a, quote, leader on IVF, recently saying on the trail that he thought IVF should be covered by insurance. Another interesting moment, and you heard it there a little bit, was Trump saying when he was asked whether he supported a ban on abortion, he said very clearly, I'm not signing a ban, but he was also asked numerous times whether he would veto a national ban if passed by Congress, and he did not answer that question, Sharon.
Yeah, exactly. So, Evan, recent polls show a tight race with no clear leader less than 2 months until the election. How does Tuesday night's debate shape the next 2 months? And also, what can we expect to see from both candidates moving forward?
All right, so this debate was no doubt seen by millions of viewers, but this is just step one. It's now going to be clipped and shared on social media, and the candidates are going to be barnstorming the swing states. Harris is kicking off her New Way Forward tour, that's what they're calling it. Harris starting in North Carolina, then heading to Pennsylvania. Her running mate, Tim Walz, is going to be in Michigan and Wisconsin, and Trump has a rally planned for Las Vegas, Nevada. But Sharon, for me, all eyes are going to be on Pennsylvania, especially for Democrats. Listen to this. No Democratic presidential campaign has been successful without Pennsylvania since 1948. So yes, the Harris campaign really needs Pennsylvania.
Absolutely. All right. Evan Koslof from Washington, as always, thank you so much for your time and your expertise. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill facing yet another government shutdown at the end of this month. But Republicans and Democrats remain at odds over key spending decisions. More on that in just moments. Plus, honoring 13 service members killed during the 2021 Afghanistan withdrawal. Congress posthumously awarding the troops its highest honor. All that and more just ahead on Spectrum News.